And here we go, and as you can see, that's of course going to be the all-loved Arabia, as everybody's playing this map, and yep, it's a dry version, so yeah, kind of more like the green one, but we will have to stick with this one, and let's see if the players' performances are going to make up for that. Looking at the civilizations, this 4v4, the game number 1, Angelina Jolie is playing Hans, Siesta is Mongol, Falcon is Spanish, and Tome is Mayan, and against them we have Hans, Stode, then Chinese is picked by Lecture, Slaktan is going Mongol, and LB10 is going Mayans. So we have a difference of Chinese and Spanish, which is kind of the usual kind of difference, basically based on preferences or some special strat that you are prepared to play with your team. The first we have a look at this point is the blue player, Angelina Jolie, as the host of the room, and as you can see, he's playing on the left, but the position on the map is kind of curious, because usually the sides are more into the map, like about here, if you have a look at the minimap, like around here, but he is spawned literally in the corner, which should make his job kind of easier on the defense, and this also leaves Tommy in kind of a unfortunate position maybe, that he will be slightly more at the mercy of his opponents. So let's see about that. We will see quite soon when we switch off the Fog of War if his opponent is somewhere close. Well, yeah, kind of normal positioning, but still, I would say that Blue's base is really kind of sweetly positioned, and he won't be really all that disappointed about that. So right now he's scouting with his scout, obviously, has already discovered the boar, and his mites are also pretty safe indeed. Both the stone and the gold are at the back behind the base, so it will be very hard to raid him, but this is the second gold mine, so still the main gold mine is here, and that's more in the middle, which could be slightly problematic, because looking at the map so far, the stone as well, it might not be all that easy to wall up, especially in this part. Yep, this is very open, and if he is going to wall this up, that's going to cost him quite a lot of wood for the palisades, or potentially buildings or whatnot. But otherwise, the map seems to be pretty fine for him with one extra goal on the left, and if he does get off to a pretty good start, he should be having a very nice game indeed against LB10, who will be facing him. The next to have a look at when we put on the Fog of War yet again is going to be, for example, Falcon. And he is also having quite safe gold together with the stone and the second war as well. But where do we see some extra mines? Stone is here on the left together with some extra hand. It should be pretty easy for him to manage or whatever. And in the forefront he doesn't see all that much, just this gold. And his map seems to be much more defensible, because he does have those 2-3 lines here that are pretty bountiful, and he can very easily wall this part up. And yeah, this is not really all that bad. If he has some cooperation from his teammate Blue, he could potentially make sure that his base is pretty much safe from the raiding. This should be a very nice position for him, playing pocket as a Spanish here. We'll be probably switching into the next guy. This is kind of interesting and potentially a trap for the villagers. This double wolfie will be pretty nasty indeed in the game, potentially. And well, here we see relic at the back, and looking at other positions of the relics, we have actually 6 of them. This is extra 2s. Where is the next one? Oh, right behind the wall, rather beside the wall. And these 2 will be probably contested by both of these players, because it's not like it's either of those. So yeah, it's going to be up to the opponents to choose which one is more worthy of this religious relic. Some other ones hidden behind the base of the opposing team, so they will be definitely AoHDs. And this one, oh yeah, this is still RoRs, and as is this one, so pretty much just those 2 on the left will be the ones contested. Otherwise, it should be reasonably safe for all of the players, or rather both of the teams. Well, switching into the next player, that's going to be, for example, Siesta. He's having a hunt here, and he's probably going for it, yeah. And this seems like a dropped mill right there, so he's not even attempting to actually use his scout to make sure that he lures them in, so that he doesn't waste the extra wood. But he is much more interested in actually scouting with this scout cavalry, which basically means that he will be maybe attempting to give some line of sight to his allies where his opponents are. Yeah? He has right now signaled that something is happening there, and here we see a bit of a fight between those 2 guys. At any rate, first to advance into the feudal is Slaktarn. Let's switch quickly into him. what he's doing. Oh well, he's just interested in actually walling himself in, so maybe he's advancing faster into feudal so that the stone walls are not that far away from him. But otherwise, he doesn't seem to be really preparing for any kind of rush or whatnot, but it's maybe kind of early to say. So far though, it seems like that he is much more preparing himself for being heavily attacked by the potential opponents. Right now dropping the barracks, so we will be having a look at that pretty soon, and Angelina Jolie is the next one who is advancing into feudal age pretty soon. We don't really see anything, just double lumber camp here for the proper optimization of the wood gathering. Bit of a defense here as well, and dropping barracks also. So will we see the same strategy from both Angelina Jolie and Slaktar? Quite possibly. Quite possibly could be what is going to happen. Oh, that is Slaktar is grey, and yep, he's right now just now switching into stable, so that's just going to be it. I'm going to quickly check if maybe somebody is already going into sling mode. So far not. Going to be just in the early feudal if somebody is going for it, and here we see a bit of a dash, and it's on Angelina Jolie from AoHD LB10. So that was a pretty good idea to actually go on the one that is the weaker echo and potentially is much more damageable by the raiding here. So let's see if Teal can actually make something happen. So far he has taken the wrong route, so he's walking around the forest, so yeah, that's going to buy some extra time to Angelina Jolie, who is also going for stables, which basically means that he is really playing the same strategy as his opponent, Slaktar, on the right side, and well, it is kind of understandable as both of these civilizations, Mongols and Huns, do have pretty good cavalry overall. And we are getting back with the militia here, and it will be slowly finding the correct tree line, and maybe blue should be preparing for that, but having those scouts there together with all those villagers, I'm kind of thinking that he doesn't need all that much extra effort in like wasting the wood for palisade walls, and he should be quite fine even this with just by himself. Bit of a raiding, or rather, well, raiding, that's more like scouting by lecture, not anything else. Very nice protection of the gold yet again for the pocket of Siesta, who is playing the Mongols here, and he is dropping barracks as he's advancing into feudal age. Let's see what the second building is going to be. I would be expecting stables as well, yeah, of course. Not anything like archery range, and looking at, for example, purple, we have archery range, so that's expected. For Mayans, that's going to be raiding by some archers and crossbowmen later on, whereas here we see that Teal's attempt at raiding was absolutely useless at this point, and he has lost all those militias, and the Eagle Warrior also, yeah, quite probably, as I don't see him anywhere, and all it did is basically just deny Angelina Jolie the early rush with his scout cavalry and delayed it by, I don't know, 2-3 minutes maybe, which is also pretty crucial at this style of the game, but right now he also has quite a decent army himself. Well, but what it did is that it really bought time to his opponent LB10, who is at this point quite finished with this wall in, just trying to make sure that he wants that he finishes this wall on the left. But otherwise, he did. Oh well, he did leave a room there. Wow. Okay, well that's nice wall in, but useless. So that didn't really work out all that well for him. And yeah, that's a pretty nasty surprise for him, I have to guess, because he basically wasted all this wood on the wall. God damn it, on the wall. But fortunately for him, there is nothing for blue to be raiding on, as these villagers are very nicely protected indeed. Otherwise, not much stuff really going on somewhere else on the minimap, at least if I have a proper look. But grey together with yellow are seeming, yeah, like they are actually ready for a proper raid in here, and purple is not protecting himself all that well, as he is leaving a room there, and right now he's pretty heavily raided on the wood line, and well, unfortunately for him, he does have some spearmen, so it's going to be it pretty much, and it was the only attempt, and pretty much I think the only villager that will be dead from this kind of raiding. A lot of different colored dots in Red's base. There is a green scout, but also those blue scouted cavalry, which yet again won't be having any kind of luck defending, or rather dealing any kind of economical damage, because yep, you can see that spearman is already ready, and those sables are basically signaling that scout cavalry, or potentially knights, or yeah, knights, because Toad is already in castle age, will be coming up as well. quite a lot of advances in there with RoR Siesta, and also 2 extra AoHDs, so 3 AoHDs will be actually in Castle Age, which is pretty interesting at this point. And here we see a bit of an attempt from Purple with Fletching being researched, and he is trying to put Slugtarn in kind of a pickle because he is forcing him off his main gold. And where is this other gold actually? Here at the back. Okay, so that's reasonably safe if he wants to, but still, if Purple can somehow make something happen with this could be pretty powerful for him, as he would be stopping his opponent. But with those villagers hidden there and those skirmishers as a perfect answer, as is pretty much it, and Purple will have to do a lot better to somehow deny his opponent resources. But still, those VDs weren't gathering for like a minute, which is also counting with this early in the game. And well, here we see still some kind of attempt by Grey, but not much successful at all, especially when we see that Red is already having some interesting chemos right inside Arvartom's base. Or rather, RoR Siesta. Okay, so this is not red, this is actually orange. Sorry about that, this is orange. And looking at the base of Teal, bit of a skirmish here, with Teal going for the crossbowman, of course, as he's Mayans, and it seems like that AoHDs will be taking the reins right now, taking the reins of the game right now, as they are having a pretty decent army, and those knights will be making all kind of difference in the battle here, because Scout Cavalry cannot really match with them, but the number of archers is not low. And AoHDs need to play this carefully before they just lose units needlessly. And they definitely don't want to lose any of those knights, because knights are not exactly cheap. That is exactly what is right now happening, some free damage right there, but also a bit of raiding on the wood line from Teal, which is right now pretty successful, and is also forcing a bit of those fillies from the wood, from the gold gathering, trying to build a tower, but I don't really think that's going to be needed all that much with all the defense that Blue is having. Blue also is still in feudal though, so he should be kinda hurrying into the next age. Let's switch to Angelina Jolie. Oh well, he's definitely not going there. Oh yeah, he is, sorry. He just clicked in, so we were looking at exactly the right moment, and well, that's pretty much it. And Green, our Falcon, is arriving to help his teammate who is under the attack here. So this is pretty much it for the AoHD's aggression on the left, but we see RoR's aggression on the right now, with Tommy having pretty decent lineup of archers, and also the hill advantage here. This is a pretty good spot for him to attack, and some of those knights together with camels. Some defense is waiting for them there. Well, let's see if that's going to be enough. The reason why he isn't actually engaging in is because he wants to keep those archers right next to his hill, which is a pretty good idea to gain some extra advantage, extra damage rather than that. And well, finally the house is almost dead, so he is almost through, and this is going to be quite interesting for him to play in. And also he's kind of half creating an artificial choke point to actually make those archers be as condensed as possible, and yeah, meaning that knights cannot really surround them and whatnot. So university being built for a great player, otherwise we see an attack still going on pretty strong from AoHDs on the left player, Angelina Jolie from RoRs, but still I'm kinda thinking that this is at this point developing into more of a nuisance than anything else for Rulers of Rome, as they are having a pretty decent army of those archers together with those knights that they should be able to defend if they micro properly. So this is more of a micro battle at this point. We see a lot of green knights dying, whereas not enough reds at this point though. Yeah, Green right now saying that he should go back, exactly. And it was kind of surprising result to the battle, I would say, because yeah, I would maybe think that Blue together with Green would be slightly better micro in there, but they didn't, and they really paid for this kind of mistake due to the fact that those crossbowmen were simply stronger than those archers. But right now that's going to be turning around, as Blue didn't really lose all that many archers, and yeah, crossbowmen are back in. But problem could be that they are kinda half dead, so if some knights actually get into them, they are pretty much toast. Yeah, that's going to be just a few hits by each knight, and yeah, that's pretty much it. On the right side, that's a pretty decent army of archers together with knights, but at the same time it means that they have been repelled from the grey base and will be forced to somehow regroup and potentially rethink what they are doing, because AoHD's defense was pretty nice, and we are definitely waiting for the crossbowman castle age from Tommy, who is just there. His army is pretty huge of those archers, and he's patrolling this hill, hoping that that extra damage could be exactly what it takes to win this battle. Now, AoHDs recognize that, yeah, it's better to actually retreat at this point, as really the numbers are pretty nasty from purple. Pretty nasty indeed, and we will be seeing the engagement a bit later when the botkin arrow and crossbowmen are in. Returning back to the left side, we see that blue together with green have stabilized finally, as AoHD's attack is basically repelled. Some kind of dead crossbowmen, I would guess. And are they switching somewhere else? Oh yes, they are. They are switching onto the green player, who is right now a bit complaining about that fact, that they are actually letting their pocket be raided. And well, he needs to retreat with some of those knights of himself. Yep, back to his home base and defense against this kind of raiding before his economy takes too much of a damage. Well, some damage is being done, but I don't really think it's anything substantial that RoR should be worried about all that much. So yeah, that's pretty much going to be very easily dealt with those knights. And what's that in the base here? Okay, there's just 2 knights, garden, and that's pretty much it. I will be having a look at the pockets here. For example, at orange, who is having 2 TCs, 3 TCs, so that's a pretty standard boom, especially for a Mongol, but we also see a bit of knights from red, trying to find something to kill. So far, they are just attracting a bit of an animals here on the left. And oh, this is interesting. This could be disrupted potentially, but with the very low line of sight of red's knights, he actually did not see that at all. Yeah, he couldn't have actually seen that. So yeah, that was a bit of luck for orange, and that will definitely help with those 4 TCs. That's going to be a pretty decent boom overall. With green having 3 TCs, right now successfully defending against his opponent. And how's it looking, for example, for teal, who is having also 3? That's kind of interesting here. Okay, so it was some kind of... Seems like a dead wolf in there, so double wolfy killed the Willy. Yeah, kinda unlucky for teal, who is sending a replacement villager, but yeah, not even nature is on AoHD side on this map. 1, 2, 3 TCs for a red, or rather 4. Oh, actually 4, yeah. That's 4 TCs for a red, that's a pretty decent boom as well. He is playing what he is. He's Han. For yellow, we have seen a bit of an attempt at raiding by orange, but he wasn't really successful, and right now he will be caught by, oh yeah, quite substantial army by yellow, and I'm... Well, that's pretty much the same. I would be favoring yellow if he took this fight, so I'm kind of thinking, yeah, that's that, and orange should be very careful so that he doesn't lose all this many resources right there. The first to advance into Imperial Age will be LB10. Who is right now going there with the Mayan, so it's probably going to switch into Plumed Archer spam pretty soon. Yellow, in the meantime, is having 1, 2, 3, 4 TCs. Okay, so that's a pretty decent pocket as well. And here's the engagement that orange... Oh, well, he shouldn't have taken... Oh well, he has lost all his army at this point, so he has literally nothing, and that was really a pretty huge battle for yellow to actually win at this point. But at the same time, green has switched his attention from defending his own base or blues into an attack, and he's right now disrupting red's economy quite substantially, because as you can see, that's a lot of dead farms not gathering anything at this point, and he is being... Yeah, quite heavily raided. Look at the villagers at this point. He's having 55 idle villagers, Toady. That's almost his whole economy at this point. With having 81 himself, yeah, this is a pretty bad moment for him, and he better hope that he can somehow catch up with all those knights before any lasting damage is dealt. But I think it has already been done, and really this 1 minute of not gathering would be pretty important in the game. Right now, Orange's lost army is pretty much crucial on the battle on the right side, where RoRs are most definitely losing. This is a pretty nice attempt by the orange archers to actually, yeah, be in a clumped spot. But looking how crossbowmen are in here, this is going to be just a horrible slaughter. Oh well, this is one of those epic slaughters that you don't really see all that often. And even the wolf came in to have a place in the fun. And oh my, this hurts. This hurts, but unfortunately the extra hill advantage seemed to be enough, even though was really close. I'm not exactly sure if they really did get some extra damage, but probably they did. And the only thing that kept the situation from deteriorating into some kind of instalos or whatever was the huge reinforcement from Orange, who has been able to replace all his armies. Oh yeah, you better be careful, you are shooting at your own crossbowman, but this could result in a pretty good shot. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was a very nice one. That was a very nice one. The second one also. And this is pretty much it for the purple artillery. Okay, 1 and 2 shots from the mangonel did the job that the normal army could not at the very bottom, and this was a pretty important engagement because this has shown to AoHDs that they can definitely battle with their opponents there. Switching somewhere else, we see that green is still not giving up on the raid in here, as he's right now switching from red into yellow and still doing a decent amount of damage, but red seems to be reasonably containing the situation, and green will have to be super careful about what he does next. At blue's base, he is still not moving from his shell, but probably will be forced to pretty soon, as his opponent LB10 is Imperial H and heavy on arbalests, supported by some soon-to-be cavaliers, looking at the upgrades here, and this is not going to be easy for him to defend once they are fully in there. Well, otherwise though, switching into cavalry archers is a pretty nice idea, but he should be doing with them something else than just defending. He needs to raid with them, and there is quite a lot of release and quite good access to the economies of grey and also yellow that he could potentially make run at it. Yet another attempt at raiding from green, who is getting through very easily and will be disrupting the economy as he doesn't have any kind of resistance here. Just those few cavaliers from red, but that's not really enough to do anything substantial against this kind of raiding. At the back, still successful raiding from green, so pretty good job on that. And something else, well, it seems like that blue is under pretty heavy attack. It's actually a pretty strong double of the Eagle Warriors from left and also the Arbalests from right, and he definitely needs help. So where is actually green? Right now amassing some kind of army and advancing to Imperial Age, and since those are already cavaliers, this is not a good place for Angelina Jolie. Probably not too happy about what is going on at this point, as she is at, or rather he is at just 57 release. Well, that's not enough. Looking how he is at 3 TCs. Oh wow, that's a pretty bad economy at this stage of the game, and he will definitely need an extra help from his allies, because this is not going to solve itself, and Teal is right now definitely demolishing him 1v1. Together with the help from red, of course. So not really a 1v1, but yeah, that's that. Switching very quickly into the right side, where we see that AoHDs have broken into the bases of their opponents. You can see a bit of extra help from finally Mangudais and a castle being built by Orange, and should they be able to contain this? I kind of think so, but yet again it's going to be a lot of idle villagers. You can see pretty much everybody's being raided everywhere. So yeah, you see a lot of these being not working, so being idle, whatever. And this castle drop could be pretty important because it is blocking gold of purple, and I'm not exactly sure where extra gold is for purple. It seems like in the middle of the map, which should not be enough, and this huge army is pretty problematic, especially with the cover here, and it's probably going to be up to Siesta to do something about this, as he is dropping yet another castle. And he will be the one that should be taking care of it and possibly even killing the armies here. So, looking at Mayans and RoR Tommy, who is he is in Imperial, so he will be probably switching into Eagle Warriors, the same as his opponent LB10. Yep, that's exactly happening. And something interesting somewhere else, well, in the middle, we see a bit of development from AoHDs, I have to say. Okay, that was probably castle, maybe? Yeah, that's a castle. That's a castle for map control, and they are slowly but surely actually moving forward and trying to make sure that they don't let their opponents into some kind of map control and potentially control the middle, because who controls the middle on this map has free access to his opponents. So right now the battle is still raging near green and blue, but it seems like that green is right now with Cavaliers pretty much back in the game, in the defense game, and he should be able to defend against Steel with blue, or rather with, what is it, red, and with the extra help of those pretty decent number of cavalry archers from Blue, I kind of think that they are stabilizing, but they have to be careful because those siege workshops from the Mayan player are pretty threatening at this point, and if he can pull up, or rather pull out enough siege rams or whatever, this could be a pretty much it for especially Blue, because he doesn't have anything against that kind of army. A bit of a raiding from Red, right inside Orange's base. Yeah, trying a bit of a wolf train, probably unconsciously, but fighting against camels is probably not going to cut it, and he needs to find some better spot to actually raid about. Green is also being quite heavily raided, and looking at his villagers, he's having 101 but 70 idle. Well, he's not gathering absolutely anything at this point, so that's a pretty bad news for him, and he needs to somehow deal with this. But I'm kinda thinking they should try to concentrate their efforts, and it seems like that they're fighting like each for his own. Angelina Jolie just in his base, and Falcon as well, so that's kinda not ideal from a T-plane standoff point of view. But, well, maybe on the right side we can see that the AoHDs won't be having the battle all that easily in their favor, as Orange is doing pretty well at this point, having the best economy from RoRs, but still he is lagging between, or rather after, for example, Slaktarn, who is the Mongol from AoHDs. So this battle is right now more or less equal, I would say. Yeah, just trebuchets shooting at each other's castles, so that's pretty much it. And the game will hold, or rather hang in the balance on the left battlefield, because Blue with Green must defend, because if they don't, yeah, that's pretty much it. And so far it seems quite tenuous, especially when we're looking at this huge army of Eagle Warriors from LB10, and they are right inside Blue space, and this is going to be just a pretty bad slaughter. And since he is not retreating at all, I'm kind of thinking that he is thinking that this doesn't really make any sense for him to run anymore. Yeah, looking at villages still, 67, 44 idle, so basically no economy for him whatsoever. Yeah, you can just confirm that top left, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, he's just saying that this is pretty much a GG for him, and especially with the siege coming in. And do we see something from Green? Well, he is having a pretty decent army, and yeah, kind of hard to actually defend against opponent having paladins when he is not having nothing. And this is a castle from Falcon, so he is attempting to somehow make sure he captures this gold, and also has some kind of defensible position for himself. At the same time, those Angelina Jolie is pretty much toast, we have to say. Losing villages, town centers, absolutely everything. But can he still somehow survive this? Well, he would have to receive some substantial help from his allies, which is so far not coming. But Green is slowly but surely working on that. So maybe he can make something happen here. Those cavaliers could be enough, even though we would definitely prefer paladins. But that's so far not happening, and really, the opportunity is here, basically because Red is not concentrating on it fully, and he is also raiding other opponents like Orange and other guys potentially on the map. So that's pretty much it. We have a raiding here that Orange has to defend. But otherwise on the right side we seem to be moving somewhere forward, because the castle that was here from Grey has already been leveled, and the Imperial Age Mongols are getting their game on, together with the Imperial Mayans, of course. So whereas the left side is going most decidedly for AoHD, the right side is RoR so far, even though it looked really kinda different, at least a moment earlier. But this army from yellow is not really all that bad, especially combined with all those arbalests and Mangudais from grey. So this is probably not going to be as easy. Those Mangudais, I would be thinking, should be taking care of all those trebuchets without much of a problem, even though they will probably die, but still, it's well worth it, destroying those siege weapons. But I'm kind of worried about the fact that Purple is not really all that much present. He is much more present on the right side, so he is probably going through the bottom, which is not going to be all that easy. And if he can get into the trade though, which is pretty bountiful, and also having some kind of gold, this could be pretty decent. But RoRs are at this point giving up, as they don't really seem to be all that happy about how the game is going. And yep, Tommy is resigning, and since Angelina Jolie on the left did not receive enough help from his teammates, that's pretty much it, and the very strong Mayan push from LB10, yep, that was exactly what decided this game, as it wasn't up to RoR's capabilities to defend and also win on the right side fast enough. Well, that was quite competently played by AoHD, I have to say. But, well, let's see how the second game will develop pretty soon. So, looking at the achievements, where we will discover that LB10, yeah, has the best total score, because he definitely was the most important one. And in the military stats, units lost, oh well, yeah, that's not good. 74 units killed, 25 to 150 lost. That kind of reflected what was happening on the map there. And yet another minus score for Tommy, 95, 157. And even though they did hold pretty nice on the right side and quite long on the left as well, it simply wasn't enough. Sling, not much really, just a bit into Slugtown, so it was just LB10 literally owning the game there without any kind of sling, so pretty good job on that. And in technology, something interesting, not much, just the first Imperial Age, which really also did quite a lot of difference. You can see that Angelina Jolie did not even have the opportunity to advance into the Imperial Age himself. Strong Gecko on 56. Best by far. Alright then, GG.